Hey guys, Aftermath here, and welcome to the first ever episode of my FIFA 18 career mode. The club we're going to be choosing is Leeds United, so let's get straight into it. Right, so the first thing they're greeted with is the pre-season tournament, and obviously I'm just going to take the most expensive money because we need it to add to the transfer budget, because sadly, as a Leeds fan, this game doesn't quite understand the amount of money Leeds normally have. So currently we have a starting balance of 12.9 million and a 6.9k wage budget. So let's get into this. We'll see what we've got. We'll have a look for the expectations. Youth development. We need to sign at least 3 youth players younger than 20 with a potential greater than the average overall rating of players currently in the same position. So basically a position we don't have a lot of, people under 20. Yeah, that's easy enough. And then assign 4 youth players to the senior team in the same position they were scouted and play them in 20 matches, either as a starting 11 or coming on as a sub. So that one's going to be a bit more difficult. Then we got brand exposure, keep a streak of at least 85% attendance in 5 consecutive home matches. As a Leeds fan, that should be easy enough. Financial, within 3 seasons, increase the club's worth by 100%. I can do that. Domestic success. We have to gain automatic promotion. That should be doable even with the current squad, although there are a few additions I'm going to try and do. And we have to reach round 32 of the FA Cup. And continental success, we have no objectives. Overall, this is just a general overview. You can read that if you want, but for now, let's go to the signings and see what I want to make. Right, so we're currently sat in the transfer hub, and here are 2 players that I have added to my shortlist that I think could be good, promising players. I'm looking at that Bailey especially, but also Ronaldo Aarons. Now, he's older than 20, so he's not going to reach the mark that I want him to for one of the achievements for the younger players. However, I think he's going to be quite a good player from Newcastle. We don't know much about him yet, and sadly, Bailey won't move this season. But if we were to scout him further, we can find out how much he's worth, and maybe by next season we can buy Bailey and replace Ronaldo Aarons if he doesn't go up in rating. But for now, let's move out of this and get into the first game of the season. Okay, so before I actually have a chance to get into the first game of the season, I have a transfer offer for Calvin Phillips, and I'm tempted to decline just because currently, as much as we have a lot of depth in our midfield, Calvin Phillips is one of those players that I think is going to grow quite a lot. So I'm going to reject this offer for now, and we'll come back to it and see if anyone else gets any offers. Also, I forgot to mention that the gameplay is not going to have me voicing over it live. The gameplay for the championship especially is going to be post-commentary. So I will record the gameplay and then comment over it afterwards. Sadly, after our first disappointing game to this season, we lost 1-0. You will have seen that already by now. I'm going to make a few little changes to the squad. Not actually to the players in the squad, but mainly to the formation, because it's come to my attention that the players I'm using just don't seem to have the strength in the position that I want them in. So for example, Phillips, I will still play as a centre mid, even though he's a CDM, O'Kane as well, and Saiz will be playing cam predominantly for this year. Hernandez will be rotated with him. Also, I realise we only have the 1 left mid in Dallas, so for the majority of this year, Roof will have to play on the left-hand side until we get a report back on the 2 left mids that we looked into previous to the start of this episode. Well, not start, but previous to the first game of the season. One thing I realised as well is we lack pace up front from Lasocca. He's very slow, but he's very strong. His physical is great. But again, if you look at Grot as well, their pace just isn't the greatest. So I know for a fact that Roof can play striker, so he may be, instead of a right mid this season, he may be playing striker for us. Sacco, I have made a realization that he is quite a super sub. So for now, I'm going to keep the squad as it is until I can have a look into possibly getting a new left mid. And then other than that, we're just going to change up the formation and hope that it does us some good for the second game. But second game is against Celtic, so if we go forwards in this simulation, we have our scout reports back. Brilliant. Let's go look at them, and let's see what they say about them. So, the first one is on Bailey. They said he's worth about 10.5 million. Interesting. Then there was this guy from, I'm pretty sure I looked at him, he was at Newcastle, so he's either on loan or just moved out, who is only 2.2 million. And then of course there's Julian Brandt, who I can't afford, but he is 19 million. So Brandt can be dropped, we'll just remove him from the report. And out of these two, I'm looking and thinking they're both the same height, but his preferred foot is a right foot, preferred foot left foot, and I do need to save money, so if we can go, we'll shortlist him into the transfer hub. And if we go over to my transfer hub now, let's just quickly go into the transfer hub, because we still haven't got a report back from Adams, sadly. We can have a look into getting this player, and I think I'm going to go into negotiations with him right now. Right, so they need to see what type of deal we want. I want to offer a transfer fee. I don't really want to be swapping players. Say he's worth about 2.2, so if we try and be cheeky and offer 2.1 and no sell-on clause, we'll see what he says. 2,850. Now, because we need left mids, I'm actually going to counter this, but not by much. I'm going to drop it down to 2,500 and see if he can agree to that. He said it's fair. Okay, so that's brilliant. We have now officially put a bid on. Adjapong is the player who is 70 rated overall. So far his stats looked pretty decent. So let's go straight into negotiations with the player, see if we can get him for the price we want. Try and get his wages as cheap as possible. He wants an important role in the squad. I can agree to that. That's fine by me. Length of contract. I was going to say maybe 3-year contract for now. Extend it if needed. Cool. We'll go for a release clause of, since I bought him for 2.2 million, release clause of at least 3.5 mil. They can agree to that, so I'm making it for a million on him no matter what. So he wants 18k a week, that's 18.5k. Signing bonus of 2,800k, 280,000. And after 20 appearances he wants, okay, that I can agree to. And there we go, which means now we can remove these two from the shortlist. Let's go have a look at his stats, and then we can simulate the second game of the season, I believe, because I think if we simulate it, we've got more of a chance of winning. So we'll move him onto the bench instead of Hernandez for now. We'll have a look. Overall, his stats seem pretty average, usable. He can play left and right mid. So this game, we're going to start him instead of Dallas. And I'm actually going to start Roof in striker. And let's see what happens when we simulate the game. So, as I was about to simulate that game, I have literally just received a transfer offer for Cooper. Now, Cooper is one of those players that... Oh, what has happened? I really don't want to sell. So, I think, for now, I'm going to reject this offer. I'm going to do all the youth stuff to the side, and I just want to keep Cooper for now, because he is one of our more solid centre-backs. So that is rejected, and we'll get into simming the game. So at the end of that simulation, sadly Cooper has picked up an injury that looks pretty serious, but we did get the result. We got the 1-0 win over Celtic, which is good for us. The scorer was Matthias Klick, who came on off the bench and scored in the 54th minute. So we'll have to see how bad the injury on Cooper is, and I will be right back. Luckily for us, he's only out for about 3 days, so he will be back into training and everything very, very quickly. He only cut his head, so I'm assuming head-to-head collision for a header, but that's the downside of simulating games. You do get a lot more injuries. However, for a lot of this season, because it's championship football, I'm going to play probably one match at the start of the game, simulate a match, and that'll be the 2 games per episode until I get into the Premier League, and then I will play both games. And since it's a starting episode, I don't want to overhaul it. So, hopefully be back in 3 days, and I will be back in a second. So, as you can see here, I have added a centre-back to my shortlist, just because with Cooper injured, and having to play Ayling at centre-back and Anita at right-back, we're struggling for defenders that are of a decent calibre. So, I'm investing in an 18-year-old from West Ham. I'm going to get him scouted further, but for now, I think this is where I'm going to end the episode. Next episode, I will have simmed through the rest of the pre-season and show you where we finish off after the knockout stages. And hopefully, we can get into the first game of the season. Let's go. Also, just as a reminder, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. If you think there are any ways or any things I can do to improve this season, please let me know. And also, if you think, as I show you the squad now, there are any players you would like me to buy, if I just show you down here as well, then please leave that in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and peace!